Hey guys, Tired Arjuna here, and I figured since I have a day off from broadcasting, which is pretty rare here on RaceSpot to have a day off on a weekend, I'd show you around my home studio. So let's go ahead and let's tour around my home studio here on the west coast of the US. So I figured I'd start outside of the studio first, and I'd just show you around kind of my diecast and some of the cool stuff I have outside. You can see here, obviously, it's not a weekend without some sort of RaceSpot action. So got the broadcast going. This is Creventic 12 Hours. Paul and Peter taking you through the action right now. We also have a happy doggo here. When you see a doggo, you must pet the doggo. And this is one of many RaceSpot animals. So here's my diecast collection, or at least part of it. On the top we have newest edition, Scott McLaughlin road course configuration IndyCar. My custom George Simmons done IndyCar on my own paint. RaceSpot logos, of course, adding 50 horsepower per logo. Then on the right hand side, Robert Wickens, signed Robert Wickens diecast. Really happy to have that one. Down a row, we have my clearance aisle, which is all the diecasts I got on sale. Tony Kanaan, two Fernando Alonso's. And then down one more row, we got some helmets, some space for where my Mala Audi is gonna go. The Mala Audi done, of course, by George Simmons as well. And then this wonderful Ford Winds, which should have won, but drama as always. And then on the bottom, we got some Lego R2-D2. So yeah, that's the diecast. We've also got a bike in here because I'm trying to get on that fitness thing and lose a little bit of weight. But let's go ahead then and walk our way over to the studio. So a couple of months ago, I moved into a new apartment, and the best thing about this new apartment is I have a dedicated studio room. Let's go ahead then and walk through all the good stuff. So there's two sides to this studio. One of them doesn't get used as much as the other, but let's quickly talk through the rig here. SimLab P1, Simucube 2, some Precision Sim Engineering steering wheels. I've got a Fanatec shifter, the one that's sequential and H-pattern, hoisting belt, Pro pedals, the older ones that are now replaced by the Sprint. We've got, of course, the ultra-wide monitor. Can't do without that, especially given that I don't have space for the triples. We've got some really nice team gloves. Got my team logo, even got my name on them as well. And yeah, doesn't get used as much, but of course those who are regular RaceSpot viewers will know that I did an RSR, Real Sim Racing Cup Series race at the Charlotte Roval a couple of weeks ago. You can go ahead and check that out on our YouTube. Did pretty well, given that I hadn't done much practice. So yeah, definitely still nice to have, and do some laps as well to get to know the cars and tracks a little bit more, because that's always important when it comes to commentary and making sure that you know what you're talking about, which, let's be honest, I don't really know what I'm talking about half the time. Then on the other side, we have the studio itself, the broadcast center on the west coast of the US for RaceSpot. Go ahead and walk you through it. It's a two PC setup. On the right side, we have the production PC, which is an AMD 2700 with a GTX 1070. That controls the stream, that's what's actually sending out the pictures. And then on the other side, I have the gaming PC, which is what I run iRacing on. It's a 3950X, AMD as well, Ryzen based. This time it's a 2080 Super. And interestingly, for you PC nerds out there, the gaming iRacing PC has air cooling on the CPU. It's a Dark Pro 4, you know, the big, chunky air cooler. But then it's got water cooling on the GPU, because I got one of those EVGA hybrid units. So yeah, that's pretty fun. And then we get to the actual setup itself. Let's go ahead then and talk through it. I've got 4 monitors, and of course you got the camera slash DSLR slash webcam, glorified webcam that sits in the middle. I tell you what, I'm gonna take a seat. I've got a nice Aeron that I got used on Facebook Marketplace, because my first year at RaceSpot, I had a $50 IKEA chair, and when you do endurance races, it is not the nicest thing to be sitting there for 8+ hours, or in my case, 23 hours of a 24-hour race at one point in time, and have your back go numb. So, I've got this nice chair. Let's sit down and I'll walk you through the rest of the setup. So yeah, here's a look at the view for all of our broadcasts. I'm currently preparing for tomorrow's BMW Sim GT Cup, so you can see over here we got some BMW assets and whatnot, and I'll walk you through everything that's going on, but simply 4 monitors, each of them with a dedicated purpose. This is obviously iRacing, what's going on here. I'm in broadcast mode, which means I can have access to our camera controls and whatnot there, especially for example, some of the IndyCar stuff that we do, where I'll have rotating cameras and stuff, and moving cameras like the drone shots as well. So good to have that up so I can control it. That allows me as well to not have that displayed on the feed itself. And then this is Elgato game captured over into the production PC. And so that's captured then over in what we have, which is vMix over there. This monitor is then the iRacing PC and all my controls. So we have our wonderful ATVO, all of our graphics at RaceBot powered by ATVO. You can see timing screen over here with all of the teams, some details about them. Can't really see too much right now, but if I use the mouse, you can see we've got a lot more details here. So pit lane time, stint length, all of that good stuff, tires and push to pass for IndyCar stuff. This great pace calculator that tells you if a car is going a bit slower than normal. What we can do is we can double click to change to another car. You can right click to switch to another car and switch cameras. Then of course we've got all of our camera controls here. You can switch to a specific car, blah 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 blah. So yeah, there's a lot of different things going on here. Here I have a look at all of the things going on in the session. So for example, you can see Lara Abruzzi went off track at 9:20 in the morning, and since then there's been a bunch of stuff that's been going on here, so we can use this to try and figure out what's going on in the race itself to help tell the story. Here's our controls. A bit hard to kind of figure out what's going on, so what I'm going to do is, to make life easy, is actually pull it up on the feed over here. So you can see, I'll press this button which takes the timing tower down. We've got buttons to show details of drivers, blah blah blah. We've got our battle boxes over here. So basically all of the good stuff that controls what you see going onto the screen. So that's pretty simple. We also have obviously our RaceBot TeamSpeak. That's over here. And our music selection over here as well. So I can click these buttons and play the music on the feed as well. That will then be fed to the commentators. And of course, it's not a RaceBot broadcast without a yellow pen tool. So if I can multitask, which let's be honest, is always tough. I love Hugo. I love Hugo. There we go. Wonderful stuff. Then there's the fun stuff. This is where things get interesting. On the right hand side, especially when I'm commentating, I'll have this laptop up with some information about the track. I use this wonderful program called Amphetamine, which helps me keep the monitor, the display active without having to move the cursor around, so very useful. iPad for Zoom, so when I'm doing, for example, the VRS SEO Masters that we did earlier this summer, and I had to produce the last broadcast while commentating, that's very useful for having Zoom, and that's fed via NDI over to vMix. So vMix is what most of us at RaceBot use to power our broadcasts. A little bit different from OBS, but once you get used to it, very, very nice. You'll see this is where I control all of the stuff going on. This is where I see the actual preview of what you guys see as well. So I make sure that I'm always kept in the loop. To control that, we have this cool Akai APC Mini, which is, I don't think, technically meant to be used for this purpose, but we've retrofitted it. So we got buttons that light up. So for now example, I have the feed coming in through the Go XLR. That audio, then I can adjust the level. So if I go to an ad break, for example, I can make sure that we don't have any audio coming through there. Different buttons, so you'll see I press this, the preview changes, and this turned to green as well. That now puts up some B-roll. That's going to pull up a background, and that's going to pull up my face from this wonderful Sony a7 III. Some other buttons we've got, you can see we've got different things going on. Those are different graphics for the BMW Sim GT Cup. That's a track map of Mount Panorama. If I press this button, something's meant to happen. I didn't press the button. Nope, button's not working, so never mind. But yeah, you get the idea. Basically, these are all different buttons. All rights reserved. If I want to go to a replay, I press one of our stinger buttons, and that will put in that nice little free preview for Team Artifact Racing to get some airtime on BMW Sim GT Cup action. We've got some other buttons as well here. They're just regular transition buttons. So that's obviously a look at actually the stuff that goes on my PC. So 2 PCs, iRacing, and the production PC as well. If you're Hugo, for example, he's a master. He's got even more iRacing PCs and has his monitors set up a little bit differently, but that's a bit of just personal preference here at RaceBot, right? Because all of us, we're a remote team. We've got producers all around the world across different time zones as well, so whatever works for our producers is what we have, and this is what I have that works for me right now. In terms of headset, I have a Sennheiser HMD26. Looks quite nice. This is what gets used on some TV broadcasts, NFL, I've heard, and a bunch of other things. UFC, I'm a big MMA guy, so always good when I recognize them. And pretty comfortable, I must say, even on an endurance broadcast, to be wearing it for a while, that's what's important, right? You need comfort, you need it to sound good, you need it to work, basically, so that works pretty well. So yeah, what else do I want to show you? We've got, well, we've got Milo here again. Hello. Do you come and hang out here? So yeah, Milo follows me around. He's got a bed here for broadcasts, chilling in the bed. We've got my guitars. Don't get too much use anymore, but if you go check out my YouTube, I used to play a lot more guitar, and now all of that time is spent sim racing. Got some more die-casts. We've got a 112 scale Porsche Pink Pig, which is one of my favorite paint schemes. We've got the wonderful Lego 911 RSR Technic that the Lego and VRS guy sent me for the VRS SEO Sprint Masters. Got some steering wheels, you can see there, and yeah. Also got, if you can take a look at the ground, some Elgato green screens. There's one, and there's the other. I can show you the other, there it is. And that's because one of them's broken on me right now, so I'm having to get that replaced. But they've been taking so long, like we're literally 2 weeks into the process now, that I had to go buy another one because we've got iRacing Rallycross World Championship stuff going on and need a green screen. Also, we have a delightful printer over here, and you can see a stack of papers to be recycled because there's some stuff that you just need printed out. I get my notes for Rallycross printed out and put on the desk, so I'm always ready to go. For specific broadcasts, I'll print out my intros and outros if I've written them out as well. And yeah, that's about it. So that's a tour. That's a tour of a RaceBot studio. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe to us. Hit that red button, the bell next to it as well. And don't forget, you can join the Blame Club now. $2.99 a month. Right next to that subscribe button, it says join. You'll get emojis, you'll get extra behind the scenes looks. Like this is not going to be just for the Blame Club members, but it's an idea of what you can get if you join us. So yeah, do that if you like it. Maybe we'll do a couple more of these tours. We've got other producers, Tyler Maxon, who lives in Georgia. Of course, Hugo Luis, our co-founder of Coanda Simsport as well, our main producer, he lives in Brazil. Connery Maddock, who does still produce some broadcasts. He lives in England, so yeah, everyone on a different continent basically, but yeah. Thanks for tuning into this video, and hope you enjoyed this behind the scenes look at RaceBot TV, and I'll see you next time on a broadcast.